And I've already said that I think Norway will beat Brazil. And I'm not going to change from that.
Most people are walking into the 2026 World Cup talking about the usual giants, the teams with history, star power, and all the pressure that comes with it. Norway is barely part of that conversation, and that might be the biggest mistake anyone can make.
He's a very intelligent player. He doesn't do more than he needs to do. And where his quality comes out is in front of the goal. That is where the killer instinct comes in. And you have players that tries to do more than they're able to do. This guy is not involved. He shouldn't be involved. He's just in front waiting. He needs service, obviously. And then when the ball comes, it's one shot, one goal. Or maybe one shot, two goals. But the interesting thing I like with him also that many doesn't talk about is when his teammate scores, he looks more happier than when he scores. Because when he scores, it's a normal day at work.
While the spotlight stays fixed on the favourites, Norway has quietly built one of the most dangerous resumes in Europe. They are not coming just to make up the numbers. They are arriving with momentum, confidence, and a striker who has been tearing through international defences at a brutal pace. Norway went 8 for 8 in World Cup qualifying, winning every single match.
Can they pass the round of 16 test, which will be won indeed against Brazil, Jan? But is it really a test? Because if you look at their head-to-head, Norway has actually never lost to Brazil. 2 wins and 2 draws, not a single loss. And Stevie seems very confident that they can overcome this test.
They scored 37 goals and gave up only 5. They beat Italy twice, including a stunning 4-1 win at the San Siro on the 16th of November 2025. The night they officially booked their place at the World Cup. Erling Haaland was completely ruthless through that run, scoring 16 goals in just 8 qualifying matches, double the total of any other player in Europe, and he was not just scoring, he was smashing records too. During qualifying, Haaland hit a hat-trick that made him the fastest player in men's international football to reach 50 goals for his country, getting there faster than Mbappe, faster than Messi, and faster than Ronaldo.
Erling Haaland is just doing what Erling Haaland is doing. He's just having fun. When he said after the game against Senegal, he said, yeah, we'll play France, we'll probably lose against them and then probably win the World Cup. Everybody thought, he's just been tactical. No, that's just how he is. And Don is alluding to, he said, we're going to play Brazil. This is insane. He's enjoying his time.
Norway, ranked 31st in the world, is heading back to the World Cup for the first time since 1998. And they are doing it with their most gifted squad in a generation. That is why writing Norway off could be a serious mistake. Nobody is really treating them like a major threat going into 2026, and that may be the perfect setup for them. They have no giant expectations hanging over them, no constant media circus, and no pressure compared to the favourites. That makes them dangerous, because while everyone else is watching the obvious contenders, Norway has a real chance to catch teams sleeping. To understand why this Norway team feels different,
he now has just 1 goal in this World Cup behind the likes of Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi. We talk about that race for the Golden Boot, but I was speaking to Arneda Manua and he said he's just playing like he's having fun, like he's happy to be there, no pressure really on him. Is that kind of working in his favor too?
Yes, it is. And I mean, he has played 3 games. He has scored 5 goals. He plays for a smaller nation, which make him even more impressive. But as we do follow him,
you have to go back to the last time the country gave the football world a real shock. For all the excitement around Haaland, Odegaard, and this new generation, Norway's World Cup story has been mostly about long gaps, missed chances, and one famous night that still gets brought up decades later. Their history on this stage is short, but one result made sure they would never be completely forgotten. Norway have only reached the World Cup 3 times in their history: 1938, 1994, and 1998.
As Brazil want to win the World Cup, it's an old cliche, we just think this is a fantastic thing. The next game at the World Cup, and how can we lose? Because we got everything to win.
Their greatest moment came in France in 1998, when they stunned reigning world champions Brazil 2-1 in the group stage. With just 10 minutes left, Norway were behind and staring at defeat. Then Tore Andre Flo scored the equaliser in the 83rd minute, and Kjetil Rekdal buried a penalty in the 89th to finish one of the biggest upsets of that era. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came off the bench in that match. Norway made it through the group unbeaten. but their run ended in the round of 16 with a 1-0 loss to Italy. Even so, the image of them taking down Brazil never really faded. The problem is that it happened 28 years ago. Since then, Norway failed to qualify for the World Cups in 2002, 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, and 2022. They also missed Euro 2024, even with both Haaland and Odegaard fit and available. That is what makes this story so strange. On paper, Norway have had enough talent to get over the line, yet they kept falling short. A squad with names like that should not be sitting at home every summer, but international football has a nasty way of exposing every weakness. A few bad windows, one sloppy result, one tense away game, and a campaign can collapse fast. Norway know that better than most, which is why finally ending that cycle in 2026 feels like a massive shift. And this time, they are bringing a lot more than memories of Rekdal's penalty. Ståle Solbakken has been in charge since 2020, and over those years he has turned Norway into a team that is genuinely awkward to face. The base shape is a 4-3-3, though it can slide into a 4-2-3-1 depending on the opponent. The system changes, but the core idea stays the same. Move the ball forward quickly, press high to force mistakes, and flood the channels with runners whenever the space opens up. What makes Norway especially dangerous is that their whole setup knows exactly who it is built for. There is no confusion about where the attack should go.
Don, how confident are you for Norway in this one?
Pretty confident. I'm looking forward to watching Haaland versus Gabriel.
No endless passing for the sake of it, and no fake balance just to look pretty on the ball. The plan is direct, aggressive, and very clear. Get the ball into Erling Haaland as early as possible, then let the chaos begin. Everything else in the system is designed to make that happen. The structure revolves around feeding Haaland early and often, with Martin Odegaard acting as the bridge between midfield control and the final third. He is the player who slows things down when Norway need calm, then suddenly speeds everything up with one pass into space. During qualifying, Odegaard produced 7 assists, more than any other Norway player, and added 1 goal across 8 appearances. His international numbers tell the story pretty clearly. 67 caps and only 4 goals might not jump off the page, but 18 assists show exactly what kind of player he is and why he matters so much to the way Norway attack. Out of possession, Norway were one of the most aggressive pressing teams in UEFA qualifying. Their numbers were among the highest in the region, and they constantly looked to win the ball back high up the pitch before opponents could settle. That approach did leave them exposed at times, especially against stronger sides who could play through the first wave and attack the space behind the back line. Norway's high defensive line is still a risk, and against elite teams that risk can turn ugly fast. But tournament football changes the equation a little. In a knockout World Cup, control does not always come from having the ball for long stretches.
I just wanted to ask what are your overall thoughts about playing in the United States and kind of just getting to experience the whole country as a whole?
No, it's fine. We are very happy to be here. Obviously, the heat is not an issue, but it's something we have to deal with. I think we traveled over quite early to get used to the heat, to prepare well, and I think we're ready. We are showing that we can play well against a good opponent. Probably one of the outsiders for a semi-final even, so that's good.
And then just one more for me. MLS continues to grow internationally. Have you yourself or have you seen some of your teammates see or pay more attention to the league as a whole?
Yeah, I think everyone in the whole world have seen that the league has improved a lot in the last couple of years and attracting big stars and also big names. So I think it looks, obviously because of the World Cup as well, it's a league that is growing. So it will be exciting to see where it will end up.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sometimes it comes from owning territory, forcing rushed decisions and punishing transitions before a defense can reset. That is where Norway become a real problem. Solbakken is not trying to go pass for pass with a team like France or drag the game into a possession contest against Senegal. He wants Norway to be sharp, vertical, and ruthless in the moments that matter. The schedule helps them too. Norway open against Iraq on June 16th, then face Senegal on June 22nd, with France waiting on June 26th. That gives Solbakken a real chance to attack the first 2 matches with 1 goal in mind. Get enough points on the board to reach the knockout stage before the France game even arrives. If that happens, the pressure shifts, the confidence grows, and suddenly that final group match turns into something much bigger, with Haaland against Mbappe sitting there as a very real headline. And this is where the Norway conversation usually falls apart, because most people stop at Haaland and Odegaard and act like the rest of the squad barely exists. That is a lazy read of this team. The real reason Norway could cause problems is not just that they have two elite names at the top. It is that the squad behind them is deeper, stronger, and a lot more useful than people seem to realize. There are options here, and not just filler options either. Beyond the Haaland and Odegaard partnership, which would walk into almost any squad at this World Cup, Norway have real attacking depth. Alexander Sørloth has grown into a serious weapon at Atletico Madrid, turning himself into one of the most physically dominant strikers in La Liga. He gives Norway a completely different kind of threat, a forward who can bully centre-backs, attack crosses, and make life miserable in second ball situations. During qualifying, he scored braces against Estonia and kept contributing throughout the campaign, which says a lot about the level of cover Norway have up front. In plenty of national teams, Sørloth would not be the backup. He would be the first name in the lineup. Then there is Antonio Nusa at RB Leipzig, still only 21 and already the kind of wide player defenders hate dealing with. He is direct, quick, fearless, and unpredictable in open space. He does not need much time to make something happen, and that makes him dangerous in tournament football where one burst can change an entire game. Oscar Bob gives Norway another technical option from the wing, someone who can carry the ball, combine in tight areas, and bring a bit more creativity when games get messy. Jørgen Strand Larsen offers yet another profile up front, adding size and a more rugged physical presence in the forward line when Norway want to lean into a different kind of battle. Behind them, the midfield and defense are not just there to survive. Sander Berge gives the side balance by sitting deeper, doing the ugly work, and protecting the middle so Odegaard can drift into pockets and focus on creating damage higher up the pitch. Christopher Ajer adds top-level experience at the back and helps give the defensive line a bit more composure when Norway are forced to absorb pressure. That is why this is not some top-heavy squad carrying 2 stars and hoping for miracles from everyone else. Norway have players who log real minutes at serious clubs, players who understand their roles, and a coach who has spent years building a structure that actually fits the talent available. Everyone in the squad seems to know what the team is trying to do, how they want to attack, and where each piece fits. That alone makes them more dangerous than the usual underdog label suggests. If anyone needed a reminder of how nasty Norway can look when everything clicks, qualifying gave them one in brutal fashion. The 11-1 demolition of Moldova grabbed the attention for obvious reasons. Haaland scored 5 times and somehow still found room for 2 assists in the same game, turning the match into a complete mismatch almost from the start. It was the kind of scoreline that makes people assume one player did all the damage, but that was only part of the story. The bigger takeaway from qualifying was that Norway were not just a one-man attack with everyone else standing around waiting for Haaland to save them. Sørloth, Nusa and Bob all made meaningful contributions across the campaign, and that matters a lot when you are trying to survive at a World Cup. Opponents cannot just throw everybody behind the ball, crowd Haaland out of the game, and expect the danger to disappear. Norway have enough movement, enough width, and enough different profiles in attack to punish teams that focus too heavily on one threat. That depth is going to matter because the draw did them no favors at all. Norway landed in Group 1 with France, Senegal, and Iraq, a section many people have already labeled the Group of Death. France are the top-ranked side in the group and one of the clear favorites for the entire tournament. Senegal bring pace, power, and a level of organization that can make them miserable to face. Iraq are back at the World Cup for the first time since 1986. And while they may be the least glamorous name in the group, they are still the kind of opponent that can wreck a campaign if you do not handle the occasion properly. For Norway, the route through is difficult, but it is absolutely there. Beat Iraq in the opener, take something from Senegal, and suddenly the final group match against France becomes a real decider instead of a dead game with no way out. That is where the entire mood around Norway could shift. Haaland against Mbappe on June 26th in Boston is exactly the kind of matchup that can take over the tournament build-up, especially if Norway have put themselves in position to make it matter. And they have earned the right to think that way. Norway are ranked 31st in the world, came through European qualifying with a perfect record, and finished 6 points clear of Italy in second place. This is not a team flying to the World Cup just to enjoy the trip and swap shirts with bigger nations. They have done too much for that kind of label to fit anymore. Still, the flaws are real, and pretending otherwise would be a mistake. Solbaken's preferred high defensive line can be exposed by quick forwards attacking this have exactly the kind of speed that can punish that weakness fast. Norway's aggressive pressing also comes with risk. If the first wave gets beaten, the backline can end up isolated and dragged into races it does not always want to run. Against top-level opponents, that is the kind of issue that can turn one loose pass or one mistimed press into a goal. That said, Norway are not some perfectly built machine with no weak spots to target. The more you look at them, the more obvious it becomes that there are pressure points strong teams will try to attack. Some of them are tactical, some are about squad depth, and some come down to the health of one player who quietly holds a huge part of this whole thing together. The fullbacks, Julian Ryerson and David Muller-Wolf, are reliable players, but they are not exactly elite international level stoppers out wide. Against average opposition, that is not a huge issue. Against top teams, it can become one very quickly. Wide overloads and quick combinations down the flanks could cause real trouble, especially against sides that know how to isolate fullbacks and force them into repeated one-on-one situations. If Norway get pinned back by a team with quality wingers and overlapping runners, those areas could get ugly fast. Then there is the bigger concern, and that is Martin Odegaard's fitness. He has missed significant stretches at Arsenal over the last 2 seasons because of ankle and knee problems. And Norway without him is a completely different team. He is not just another creative player in the system. He is the player who connects the whole thing. The one who links the midfield to the attack, sets the rhythm, and supplies the final pass when space opens up. If Odegaard picks up an injury early in the tournament, Solbakken does not have a true like-for-like replacement who can replicate that level of creativity and control. That is the risk hanging over all of this. Norway's system is built around 2 stars, and while the squad has far more quality than people give it credit for, losing either Odegaard or Haaland would force a major reset. The shape could stay the same on paper, but the way Norway attack, press, and carry the ball through dangerous areas would change a lot. This team has depth, but it does not have another Odegaard waiting on the bench. And maybe that is part of what makes the whole story so interesting. The last time Norway really stunned the football world at a World Cup, nobody saw it coming. In 1998, they walked into a match against Brazil as the underestimated side, stayed alive long enough to make it chaotic, then hit twice in the final 10 minutes. Rekdal's penalty in the 89th minute sent 4.5 million Norwegians into absolute madness and locked that night into the country's football history forever. Now, 28 years later, they are back on the same stage with a very different kind of squad. This time they have the fastest player in history to 50 international goals, a midfielder with 18 assists for his country, a La Liga striker from Atletico Madrid, a 1-year-old winger at Leipzig who runs like the game, owes him money, and a perfect qualifying record from a group that included Italy. That does not guarantee anything, but it does mean this version of Norway is carrying far more firepower, far more expectation, and far more reason to be taken seriously than the badge alone might suggest. Right now, most of the football world is locked in on the usual names: France, Spain, England, Argentina, Brazil. Those are the teams dominating the build-up, the headlines, and the predictions. Norway, ranked 31st and absent from the World Cup since 1998, barely gets mentioned in the same breath. On paper, they look like the afterthought in Group 1, the side people glance at before moving on to the bigger stories. But that paper version of Norway is starting to look very misleading, because in reality, this team has one of the most dangerous strikers on the planet, a coach who has built the entire system around getting the best out of him, and a squad that has hit form at exactly the right moment. They are not walking into this tournament hoping for a miracle. They are walking in with a perfect qualifying campaign behind them, with real attacking depth, and with a level of belief Norway have not carried into a World Cup in a very long time. The last time Norway looked this organised, this confident, and this capable of ruining somebody's tournament, they beat the reigning world champions and left the football world stunned. Nobody expected it then, and that is exactly why this team feels so dangerous now. If Haaland catches fire, if Odegaard stays healthy, and if Solbakken gets the balance right in those first 2 group games, Norway have a very real shot at breaking out of Group 1 and turning this into one of the stories of the tournament. So now it comes down to the big question. Can Norway actually get out of Group 1 in 2026? Or is this run of hype about to crash into reality when the games start? Drop your prediction in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Matchio for more football breakdowns and World Cup stories. Peace.